Hey, what's up guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing the linear and exponential settings in Fortnite and hopefully help you to find the best one that suits your playstyle. Now I have explained these settings before, but what you may have heard recently is Fortnite is actually getting rid of the legacy settings, which is the OG Fortnite sensitivity, which means you will soon have to start using the new advanced settings. For a lot of legacy players, they may be unfamiliar or forgot what all these settings mean, so today I'm here to help. But just before the video starts, if you could drop a like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated, as well as use code FLEA in the item shop if you would like to support me just that little bit more. Anyway, my name's Flea and let's get right into the video. Alright, so for those of you that don't know, Fortnite did tweet out on March 7th and they said this: with the improvements we've made to aim assist, we plan to remove the use legacy look controls setting on March 13th. So that's exactly 2 days from the making of this video. To use the new settings and maintain your legacy sensitivities, select copy from legacy in the controller options and toggle off the use legacy look controls. And then under that, they tweeted, players who have use legacy look controls enabled when the setting is removed will have their legacy sensitivities automatically converted to the new sensitivity settings. So pretty much what that means is Fortnite is completely getting rid of the legacy look controls. So if you are someone that has this toggled on and you are using the old school sensitivities, then I highly recommend you switch over right now and start practicing on the new settings. And I have actually made videos comparing linear and exponential before, but I thought it'd be good to address it one more time since all these legacy players are coming over and they might not know what to use. So for those of you that don't know, the legacy controls actually use the exponential setting automatically. In fact, just about every single game you've ever played with a controller would use some sort of exponential sensitivity. The main reason for this is an analog stick is not flat like a mouse, like you don't just move it around. On a flat surface, it's actually domed shape, so it can move in a 180-degree angle. So the reason exponential exists is because it's actually really hard to kind of do small movements, especially without control freaks. So having that exponential sensitivity means that these smaller movements aren't as harsh when you're playing. But considering Fortnite is one of the most mechanical controller games ever, as well as we kind of do need those fast small movements, especially when editing, it's definitely necessary and smart for Epic Games to bring in this new linear setting. Epic Games clearly saw a lot of controller players moving over to PC, and Fortnite being one of the first cross-platform games to ever go competitive, it actually makes perfect sense that they did give us more settings to play with, so it's a lot more fair when playing with a controller. Because for example, like these tiny little small movements that all the keyboard and mouse players can do, you can't actually do that on controller with exponential. Like if I just put on exponential right now, those tiny movements are actually so much harder because the analog stick is just a lot less sensitive in those smaller movements. Whereas with linear, because there's no controller acceleration with linear, it's just instant like a mouse, we're actually able to do those small shakes just like a keyboard and mouse player. So this is why so many pro players have switched to linear, just because it's a lot more consistent sensitivity option. I know there are some pro controllers like the Astro C40 for example, that actually lets you customize your controller acceleration with percentages. And this would be really helpful on basically every other game that isn't Fortnite and doesn't allow you to have all these controller options. So what should you use, linear or exponential? It's actually a really good question and there is no right or wrong answer. But there is, however, a lot of information since we've had these settings for a good couple of months now. So from what I've seen, 80 to 90% of the community uses linear. Most likely what happens is when people try linear, they're all of a sudden just whipping the analog stick around and they're completely not used to how fast it moves. One really popular and super useful way to combat this is getting some control freaks. Most of you already have control freaks by now, but if you don't, maybe you just haven't got around to it. If you are looking to switch to linear, having control freaks will make it so much easier to control. Having that extra range of motion on your controller allows you to make more smaller and precise movements, especially when playing on linear. Whereas exponential, you don't really need it as much because those smaller movements are suppressed by the controller acceleration. But going back to which is better, I've noticed that even the most die-hard legacy players, which remember is exponential are actually switching over to linear. I did tweet out to you guys which one you use and why, and for the very small amount that use exponential, they mainly use it for competitive Fortnite, so playing arena and scrims. That gradual increase in your sensitivity is a big reason why people stay on exponential, because it does help you quite a lot with your shotgun and AR aim. But all in all, if you want a sensitivity that may start out hard at the beginning but has the most room for improvement and also the most popular setting for a reason, then go with linear. And as for the other controller settings, I've watched a lot of settings videos mainly for the reason because I want to know what people use. And for the horizontal boost, vertical boost, boost ramp time and look dampening time are all 0. That's just what I've seen most popular and will give you the most consistent sensitivity. So in conclusion, if you are a legacy player and you do need to switch over to the new advanced sensitivities, and maybe you just don't play enough to learn a whole new setting, then go with exponential. Exponential is probably what you're most used to. In fact, everyone was used to it at one point. It won't make a huge difference to your skill level and you will have better aim on exponential. But as for linear, if you do play the game a lot and you are looking to get as good as you possibly can, linear is definitely the way to go. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope all you legacy players can find the best settings possible. I did make a video recently on the best linear settings that you can get, so I highly recommend you go check that out if you are looking to learn linear. And my next upload is actually going to be an insane montage, so make sure you got notifications on because you won't want to miss that video. If you did make it to the end of the video, drop a fire emoji in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.